Maria got the promotion she spent 3 years working toward. New title, new office, new salary. $32,000 more per year than she was making before. And for about 6 weeks, life felt genuinely different. She paid off a credit card. She stopped checking her bank account every morning like it owed her an apology. She slept better. Then something quiet happened. Something nobody warned her about. 12 months later, Maria is making more money than she ever has in her life. And she feels broke. Not dramatically broke. Not behind on rent broke. Just that low-grade, constant, something is wrong broke that hums underneath everything. The kind where you're doing the math in your head at the grocery store even though you technically have the money. Here's the part that should stop you cold. Maria didn't do anything wrong. She didn't blow it on a vacation or buy something stupid. She just got more money and somehow ended up with less of it. And if you've ever gotten a raise and felt that same quiet confusion 6 months later, this video is about what actually happened to you. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about why smart, hardworking people keep earning more and feeling poorer. If that sentence just described your life, stick around and hit subscribe because today we're pulling apart the salary illusion. The reason more income almost never fixes the problem people think it's going to fix. Before we go anywhere, I want to be straight with you. I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice. It's just a pattern I've watched repeat itself so many times it stopped feeling like a coincidence. And the pattern has a name, a mechanism, and a fix. But first, I need you to hold on to one idea because I'll come back to it at the end. The raise didn't cause Maria's problem. It revealed it. Let's start at the beginning. There's a number your brain secretly believes will change everything. For most people, it's somewhere just above whatever they're currently making. If you're earning $50,000, the number is $70,000. If you're at $70,000, it's $100,000. If you're at $100,000, it's somehow still not quite enough. This is called the income target illusion, and it's one of the most persistent and expensive beliefs in personal finance. The illusion works like this. Your brain treats income as the variable and lifestyle as the constant. More money comes in, the problem gets solved. Except lifestyle was never actually constant. It was just waiting for permission to expand. Economists have a term for this, lifestyle inflation. But that phrase makes it sound like something you can just decide not to do, like it's a choice between being disciplined or being reckless. It's not. It's almost entirely automatic, and it happens in layers so thin you never see any single one of them land. Maria didn't buy a yacht, she just moved to an apartment with in-unit laundry because she finally could. She started getting the good coffee instead of the office stuff, she upgraded her gym, she said yes to more dinners out because she could actually afford to split the bill without doing math under the table. None of these are unreasonable. Every single one made perfect sense on its own. But together, they quietly consumed almost the entire raise before it ever touched her savings account. And here's what nobody explains about why this happens so reliably. Your brain has a comparison engine, and it runs constantly. It doesn't compare your current lifestyle to where you were 5 years ago. It compares you to the people around you right now. When you get promoted, you often start spending more time with people at the new income level. Your reference group shifts. What felt like a luxury at $60,000 feels like the baseline at $90,000. Not because your values changed, but because your brain quietly recalibrated what normal looks like. Psychologists call this social comparison theory. Your sense of what's enough is not an internal calculation. It's a ratio. Your situation divided by the situation of everyone you're watching. Change the denominator and the math changes even if your numerator went up. So you earn more, you spend more. The gap stays the same or shrinks, and you end up back at that confused, low-grade broke feeling wondering what you did wrong. Here's where it gets worse. The raise didn't just change what you spend, it changed what you're willing to tolerate spending on. There's a concept called mental accounting, and it works against you in a very specific way when your income goes up. Before the raise, $200 felt like a real decision. After the raise, $200 starts to feel like a rounding error. And once a number starts feeling small, you stop tracking it. You stop questioning it. It just leaves your account every month on autopilot. Those are the dangerous ones, not the big obvious purchases. The small ones that multiplied, the streaming subscriptions you added one by one during different months, the upgraded plan on the software you use occasionally, the delivery fees you stopped caring about because the convenience is worth it now, the gym you joined at the new place because the old one felt below your new life, the subscription boxes, the cloud storage upgrades, the apps, the services, the random annual charges from things you signed up for 2 years ago. Run through your credit card statement right now and count the recurring charges you genuinely forgot about. Most people find somewhere between 2 and 5 things they're not actively using. At $15 to $25 a month each, that's a number that adds up before you ever notice it moving. But here's the layer underneath all of this, and it's the one that matters most. The salary illusion isn't really about spending. It's about what the raise actually changed and what it didn't. Here's the question nobody asks when they get a promotion. Did my income go up, or did my income go up and my expenses go up by a similar amount? Because those are completely different events wearing the same disguise. Getting a raise feels like progress. But if your expenses rise in proportion, you've essentially moved to a higher tax bracket, a higher rent bracket, a higher lifestyle bracket, and you've arrived in exactly the same place you started, just with better furniture. The number that actually matters is not what you earn. It's the gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap is the only number that builds anything. A person making $60,000 and spending $45,000 is accumulating wealth faster than a person making $120,000 and spending $115,000. The math is not complicated, but our entire social framework is designed to make you focus on the top line number and ignore the gap entirely. Your employer advertises the salary. Nobody posts a job listing that says the benefits package includes a shrinking gap between income and expenses. Your LinkedIn shows your title, not your savings rate. Your friends know roughly what you make. They have no idea what you keep. So you optimize for the visible number, and the invisible number quietly stagnates. Now let me show you what this looks like mechanically, because I think this is the piece that actually changes how people see it. Say you get a $20,000 raise. After taxes, depending on your bracket and state, you're actually looking at somewhere between $12,000 and $14,000 in additional take-home income. Call it $13,000. That's about $1,083 extra dollars per month landing in your account. Now watch what happens to it. The nicer apartment because you finally can, $400 more per month. The car upgrade you've been putting off, $350 more per month in payment. The lifestyle creep that follows, better groceries, more dining, upgraded subscriptions, $250 per month, that's $1,000 a month gone on things that feel completely reasonable, on things that make your life genuinely more comfortable, on things that you could absolutely justify to anyone who asked. And you're left with $83 more per month than you had before the raise. $83 from a $20,000 salary increase. This is the salary illusion in its final form. The raise was real. The improvement was invisible. So what do you actually do with this? The fix is almost offensively simple, and almost nobody does it in the right order. When the raise lands, before you change a single thing about your life, you automate the gap. You take a meaningful portion of the increase, not all of it. You're allowed to enjoy some of it, but a real portion, and you redirect it somewhere it can't be slowly consumed by lifestyle drift. The high-yield savings account that earns you something real. The retirement contribution you've been meaning to increase. The index fund you've been meaning to start. You do this first, before the new apartment, before the car decision, before any of it. Because the research on this is brutal in the clearest possible way. People who increase their savings rate immediately when income rises maintain that rate. People who adjust their lifestyle first and plan to save the difference almost never do. The adjustment always consumes more than expected, and the saving never happens. This isn't about willpower. Willpower is a terrible long-term strategy for anything. It's about sequencing. Automate the gap before your lifestyle can find it, and lifestyle inflation can only grow around the edges of what you've already protected. There's a second piece to this that matters equally, and it's the one most financial content completely skips. You need to redefine what progress looks like. Right now, your brain measures progress by what your life looks like. The apartment, the car, the clothes, the dinners, the things that other people can observe and compare against their own situation. These feel like progress because they're visible. They give you feedback. Someone notices the watch or the new place, and your brain registers that as evidence you're moving forward. The gap doesn't do that. You can't see compound interest growing in an index fund from across the room. Nobody compliments your savings rate at a dinner party. There's no moment where someone looks at your emergency fund and says, "You look like you're doing really well." So your brain, which is optimized for social feedback, treats the visible stuff as real and the invisible stuff as theoretical. And you keep upgrading the visible stuff because it feels like something, while the invisible wealth-building machinery sits dormant waiting for you to remember it exists. The reframe that actually works is this. Net worth is the number, not salary, not apartment size, not the car. Net worth, assets minus liabilities, is the only score that reflects whether you're actually winning the financial game or just looking like you are. When you start tracking net worth instead of income, the whole game changes. A $20,000 raise that gets entirely consumed by lifestyle does nothing to your net worth. A $20,000 raise where you redirect $800 a month into appreciating assets moves your net worth by nearly $10,000 in the first year before the investments even do anything. Same raise. Completely different outcomes. The only difference is what you decided to measure. Now I want to come back to what I asked you to hold on to at the start. The raise didn't cause Maria's problem. It revealed it. Here's what I meant. The problem was never the income. The problem was that Maria, like most people, never had a system that captured the difference between what came in and what was actually needed. When income was tight, expenses stayed tight by necessity. Not because of discipline, because there was no slack for them to expand into. The raise created slack, and without a system to capture that slack deliberately, it got allocated by default, by habit, by comparison, by small decisions made one at a time with no awareness of the cumulative picture. The raise revealed that there was no system. And now that you know that, you can build one before the next raise lands. Or right now if you're already sitting on income that should be building something but isn't. Because here's the thing about the salary illusion. It runs in both directions. It can quietly erase every raise you ever get, compounding into decades of earning a lot and keeping almost nothing. Or you can see it for what it is, a default setting, not a destiny, and choose to override it before it overrides you. Maria eventually figured this out. Not because she earned more, but because she stopped measuring her progress by what her life looked like and started measuring it by what it was actually building. Same salary, different system, completely different trajectory. You're allowed to do the same thing. The raise isn't the variable that changes your life. The gap is. And the gap is completely within your control, starting with the next dollar that lands in your account. Just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor, and this video is for educational purposes only. Any results depend on your own decisions. I'll see you in the next one.